Dude, I'm sweating. Like that just
right?
came through me like fire.
You're like Tyler Henry. You're going through
You
the you're
are
going
on
through the
fire.
going through
Yeah.
the work. I feel like we dragged her over the coals. I think that she got the
We did
best of
not
us.
drag her over the coals.
I don't feel like I've been dragged over the coals at all. I'm very
Good, good.
contemplative right now and soaking this in because if there's one thing about me that is very true is I need time. I need time to sit with things. And I think this has also been one of my struggles along this way, is because I feel like the outside world or the marketing as we know it today, it doesn't permit me to have that time.
Welcome back to another edition of the Pear Genius podcast. We are on season 2, and you know what? We are welcoming back Yvonne Winkler from YvonneWinkler.com. I'm going to put the link in the show description. The lovely Kati Pauls has done that website and has been working with Yvonne for years, and the two of them co-create some pretty cool things and do a whole bunch of stuff. But we are getting down to business about branding, and that's kind of the fun thing about season 2 is finding that genius, that magic, the your soul and you coming out in your business. And what better person than Yvonne Winkler to come on? So welcome back.
Thank you.
It's good
That's
to have
really
you.
cool introduction, actually. I just put all of the dots together as you were saying that. That's really cool.
Oh, and it was totally unscripted. So look at me,
Yeah.
a genius at
Well,
intros now.
you're
Hopefully,
floating right along.
hopefully I can land this plane. That's usually my I can take off. I just can't land this damn thing. So hopefully we'll master that too this season. So yeah, welcome back. Kati,
Thank
how are
you.
you doing today?
Oh, so good. I have been in Yvonne's energy for the past couple of days. So here's the thing. I want to bring up vulnerability first and foremost, because when you are in a position where your superpower is put to the test almost, that's scary. It's like, okay, no, I know I can do the magic when I'm by myself in the dark, in my little tomb. But now I want to bring it forward because branding is shifting. The way I'm defining branding is shifting. The way soulful entrepreneurs need to get themselves out there is changing.
Yeah.
So, in that, it's like I have to now try and bring the magic in front of the camera. And that's scary. Like, I have moments of, okay, am I for real? So, just leading with vulnerability. So, this is a safe space. And I know knowing what I know about your brand and what I feel is missing or we're disconnected from, there needs to be safe space for me to share the insight with you. And that everything we're going to go through is from a place of love to get to what we need to get to.
Yeah.
So, with that,
Nothing
let's
like
just get
creating that safe space right in public.
I would say that Kati's superpower is giving you that shit sandwich that you need to eat in order
Yeah.
to get to the other side.
unfortunately, that's a Scorpio thing.
Well, and
I
here's my
oh
add
sorry.
to that. I think this is really cool because, from my perspective, what you just said you're getting vulnerable about, you have been doing all along. Like, to me, it's like just having been part of your guys' journey as well. To me, it's just like you're possibly getting out into public with it now, but you have been doing this work and holding this space. Has it evolved? Yes, I'm sure it has. However, you have been doing this from right from the beginning. Like, I don't think you've ever just mindlessly created any piece of work that you've created, any website, any design. It's always been from that place of feeling into what is the energy here? What are we trying to do? Yeah.
That's true. And a lot of for me, I guess the vulnerability also comes into I don't usually have to say to the person's face where I feel like there's something missing or a disconnect or something like that. And then I get to just show them, oh, ta-da, here's the end piece,
Ah,
and we don't
yeah.
have to worry about.
Yeah.
the crap that I had to go through to get to this.
Yeah.
So I think that we're all feeling safe, we're feeling good. What I feel that the and I'm going to get you to explain to me actually what you think is missing from the brand, or what you're looking for, or what's trying to emerge. For me, when I think about the brand and I'm sitting in the energy, is that I'm missing soul thread I can't connect to.
Mhm.
So we need to have this conversation to help bring that to light. But before we
Yeah.
do, let why don't you tell me, what do you think is missing?
Exactly that. However, what I do know is we just talked about it. It's when I started, which is when you actually started working with me, was when I started my going on my own. Let me backtrack even more. When I was in corporate, I was, as I talk much about it in my book, I was very much in a shell. And that shell was about protection, was about perception, performing. Because I was in such a man's world, and the finance world particularly has this feeling around like self-importance, where you have to stand out with like as much as you know, or how finessely you speak, or how analytical you can be, and how precise you can do things. And I mean, there are jargons that they throw around that I swear they only made up those jargons to sound that important. Like the principles and the concepts of most financial concepts and are really not that difficult, but they made them incredibly complex so that they can justify the fees and the self-importance piece, you know. So I know some people may not like that I said that, and this is exactly what we're getting to. I learned, especially in my corporate life, that I needed to look and sound like a certain persona in order to be taken seriously, in order to be accepted into the in crowd. And when I first launched on my own into the consulting work, it was a bit scary, but it was also really exciting because I could start playing with that little bit of freedom of doing it my way. And I did that for, gosh, I think I was with them for 5 years. I did that. And I grew a lot into my own during that time. And this is past my backpacking trip, like after my backpacking trip. So I already had a better understand, like more better emotional EQ, and also a lot of development. And then I left that consulting gig and went and started YvonneWinkler.com. And that was when I did like a 180 from this corporate persona in capitalism and in like finance to the woo world. And I was terrified because I was like, nobody's going to take me serious if I say that I I I do Reiki, and I believe in energies, and I have crystals in my hand or in my bra, or I bring or I read cards. No one's going to take me serious. It was frightening as hell. And this was the same time as like Facebook Lives and like all of those things started to emerge. And I remember like doing my first recordings, and I was just shaking. I was just so terrified. And the fear was that if I show my true self, I'm going to be shunned from the seriousness of my work, or not being respected for what I do, or not taken seriously, and I won't be included in the business circles anymore, or I won't get any contracts anymore. And so I walked that fine line for a very long time. Hence, probably why, you know, so many times my website got redone. And I did what you just described, which was the behind the scenes, like trying to emerge through the website rather than through me as the person. And something got lost in that. And that is what you're picking up on. And that is that core. That is that true, like, because you know me beyond the website. We have had conversations. You know, you've read my book. You have a different knowledge of who I am than what the website presents. And so one of the feedbacks I keep getting over and over from people that do get to know me a little bit better is exactly what you said. I'm missing the Yvonne in all of this. Like, where is the core? Where is Yvonne? So when I said to you yesterday, I'm so stinking excited for this conversation, the excitement came from that place of I know that whatever is going to come today out of this, it will get to the core of what it is that is missing in it all that is now ready to emerge. And we spoke about earlier, the filters are falling off. I'm done performing. I'm done with making myself fit into this perfect box that I thought I needed to fit in order to be welcomed into any type of community or scenario.
Yeah. So in all of that, it's funny because you have it framed one way, and my feeling of it is framed in a different way, but it comes out to pretty much the same thing. So much of it's funny because actually I didn't know your signs. I didn't know your rising, your moon sign, and your sun sign until last week. And I've tried to dip into your energy before so that I could help because I this is not the first time we're hearing that you're having a hard time with the website and making it feel like you. So I'm like, okay, what can I do if I just drop in? And it's just an instant nope, pull back out because now I know that you're a Libra sun. It's like, oh my God, yes, that makes so much sense because poise comes with having to make sure you think everything through from every different angle and making sure that this person and that person and that person all take it in the exact right way. And
Hmm.
for me to step into that, it's like, oh my God, it's instant overwhelm. I don't know how. How do you get to the root of what you're trying to say when you have all these different things going on and the perspectives that you're trying to satisfy? What I love about your Libra so much is the way it looks, the beauty.
Mhm.
Like Venus is fully present in your color scheme. The more I was like looking at the colors and the feels, I'm like, holy shit, you nailed the colors like from the beginning. I love them so much. I love the softness. It's everything that I would ever want in my
Mhm.
experience with you. So we know it's the colors are very good, especially now that we've brought in this deep maroon. I feel like the gradient is complete. That's what was missing to ground everything in and this
Yeah.
next layer of wisdom,
Yeah.
So I love that. And then when I discovered it was Sagittarius rising, I'm like, what crazy that you have these two signs that are so external.
Mhm.
There are some people who wouldn't have even survived stepping a toe in corporate, especially finance. Now, somebody with Libra and Sagittarius, you have support in your outward expression to be bold and adventurous and able to think so quickly and clearly. And then when I discovered that your moon sign was Pisces, I'm not gonna lie, I was totally jealous. Anytime my sister is a moon Pisces as well, and I'm like, the gift of
Mhm.
having Pisces as your moon of all places is, and I think that's the core of the brand. That's the part we need to connect to because that holds. Now, have to say, you said something so crazy intuitive. So it was like the universe is mirroring it back to me that 2 days ago, I was on the motorcycle and I had this download after I requested, I want to know what Yvonne's soul is trying to express. What am I helping
Mhm.
to come forward? I said, I need a symbol. Just give me a symbol. Nothing. I'm like, great. Thanks for that. And then yesterday I went to yoga, and in the middle of the most peculiar position, the symbol emerged right in front of my face. And I was just like, what? It was so perfect and so clear. And then you said the word as you were describing yourself earlier. I'm like, that's it. That's it. It has to be it. So you said that you were in a shell, that you protected yourself. Now, the image that came through for me was this beautiful, ornate shell with the most radiant pearl sitting inside of it.
Oh, no.
I saw that. I came home and I almost cried. I thought, oh my God, like I mean, a pearl is the
Yeah.
essence of feminine wisdom. It is feminine divine, the pearl. And you have one of your brand power words is radiance.
Yes.
Your soul already knew that radiance was there, that it had to be part of it. Now, your other brand word is clarity. If
Hmm.
I was to pick one word to describe your superpower, clarity. I don't know if it's by coincidence you have book a free clarity call on your website, but you are able to look at a person and see all the different perspectives that make them up. And in that, you
Hmm.
find and pull clarity for people.
Hmm.
So clarity and radiance and this beauty, and it is not a coincidence that you have moved to the ocean and that now the symbol of this oyster pearl is coming through. It was so ornately decorated, so beautiful, but simple, iconic. And I thought, hey, we're satisfying Libra's beauty.
Yeah.
We're really calling on Pisces moon to come through
Hmm.
because that is the core, that is the pulse of your brand. It's going to be when you are able to open up. Now, Pisces needs the shell because it is a form of protection. There
Absolutely.
is vulnerability in allowing Pisces moon to open.
Yeah.
But what we get from that is going to be so radiant.
Yeah.
What does that feel like in your body to visualize that symbol?
Um, I think you nailed it. I have never thought or considered it to be pearl or shell. And everything about it makes total sense because, from a symbolism point of view, I'm speaking purely symbolism right now. I remember my original one was the lotus, right? And what was so appealing about the lotus for me, or how that all began, was because of the journey the lotus takes to even become to radiance, right? It has to travel through the murky waters in order to get to the top level of the mud water, and they grow mostly in ponds where it's murky and like you can't see, and then they open up once they're above the water level. And that symbolism was always my anchor. And the pearl is very similar to that because a pearl is created through sand rubbing together. So, and I truly believe, and I'm so fascinated that you intuitively said that about me. It is my gift to see clarity, yes. And the other part to that is I can see a pearl in everyone, which is also sometimes what might be a little bit of my shadow as well, because I usually like I can see beyond the flaws. I can always see beyond that. But I'd like to lean into it as my gift. So yeah, so that means a lot to me. And what, the other thing, the other aspect that spoke to me about this is it's an oyster shell. And if you've ever seen an oyster shell, they're ugly as hell. Oyster shells, when they're closed, they're not nice looking shells. The beauty's on the inside. Like when you open them up and then you see the beautiful rainbow. It's pearl, not rainbow. When you see the opal inside, that makes the oyster shells so beautiful. I have quite a few here now, Kati. I collect them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, only the pretty ones.
Oh, well, maybe it's time to start picking up the non-pretty ones.
Well, the pretty ones are the ones that where the inside started to peel, where you can start seeing the opal, right? It's those ones that I usually bring home because if I bring every one of them home, I think my husband will kick me out. So,
Yes, I fully understand that.
Speaking of
You know what?
husbands, this is where I chime
Oh,
in.
sorry, dear.
Yes, I'm still here. So I wanted to ask Yvonne kind of a weird question because as Kati was talking, I was getting emotional, and
mm,
then she left it to you, and I'm like, wow, she didn't cry. I'm like, I think that I would have cried if somebody would have seen me. And is that me noticing that your shell is closed and you're trying to,
no, I
I
don't
don't
think
know,
so.
no?
Um, no, I can say that with certainty. I received what Kati said with fully open heart. And I think why I wasn't emotional, especially in that crying, is because I have experienced Kati seeing me already
Oh, cool. Okay.
for who I am, and many times over, like many times over. I remember the first time I saw my website, I cried. It was so I, and I don't mean to sound arrogant about this. This is not coming from an arrogant place at all. I have experienced being seen so much now that I can receive it without the emotional reflection of it, if
Right.
that makes any sense. But it's still being received like right here. Like
Yeah,
it
no,
feels
I just found it
so good.
interesting. I'm not trying to
It
call
feels
you
so
out.
good.
I was just I noticed that. I'm like, "Oh man, I probably would have cried." But
I
your
didn't feel
answer
called out. No, I don't
your
feel called out at all.
your answer explains a lot because
Yeah.
I we were talking about this that once you're vulnerable, but after a while you're kind of done with the vulnerability and you kind of get used to being seen. So that is
Yeah,
a
I don't
cool
know
way
if I'm
to
done
explain
with
it.
vulnerability. There's still a lot of pieces that I'm not showing. I think you absolutely got that right, Alex. Like there's still pieces, and I think you're absolutely right for questioning it. Like, is this me closing up or is this something else? So I appreciate the question a lot. And I can just reflect back saying, no, this is not me closing up. This is me just having a different my vulnerabilities are in different places now. They're not in this conversation anymore. Like, or maybe they will be. I mean, I don't know where Kati and you are going with this with me, but right now I'm not feeling like we're going to a place where I'm not ready to go to. And
Which is
that's,
awesome.
and the emotional piece that you were reflecting on, Alex, I think is, I do recall and I do remember just how unbelievably impactful it is when you experience for the first time someone seeing your soul. And I'm I feel seen. I absolutely feel seen by Kati with what everything she said about the shell, and I'm receiving it from that place of wow, like the depth of where we can take this. Like this is so beautiful. That's where I'm at with it. Whereas maybe if this was our first conversation ever, and you know, I had struggled for years and years to identify like my soul purpose, which I have, by the way, but I'm making progress.
Well,
then
my heart was
then
happy. My heart
then
was happy for you.
absolutely, and here's the other element that's coming to mind right away. I cried when I saw the work that you've done for two of my other friends that I recently saw. So there is what I haven't, I've just heard Kati's words right now. She's acknowledged seeing what she's seen. I haven't seen the imagery that comes with it. So maybe, Alex, I'll take a video when I first see how
Right.
Kati is presenting that imagery to me, because who knows, maybe that will trigger some deep emotion,
Yeah, I didn't think
right?
about that because yeah, some people are very visual, and for me, I think it's words. I think that's kind of my thing is
Yeah,
words
yeah,
that can get me. So
yeah,
no, that's I appreciate that answer. It was cool.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack it from you, ladies. I'll pass it back to
That's
Not at
okay.
all. Not at all.
I'm gonna keep going because we're talking about symbols. Um, have there been has there been one symbol or a few that have followed you your whole life? What have you actually noticed throughout your life that just keeps showing up?
Symbolism wise.
Is there a shape, color? Like, is there a symbol that kind of is like, oh, there it is again?
Mhm. A few, I would say. Let me just feel into this. For sure, 100%, the number one symbol that I get all the time, and I have most of my life, is the heart. I see heart rocks wherever I go. I see heart shapes. I oh my God, do we have time for a really, really quick, like most amazing
For
thing ever?
sure.
sure.
I was driving to a client's house the other day, and I like, as you know, I'm on Vancouver Island and the snowbirds practice here. And I get to see them in their full practice. And it's just I love it. I love it when they're active. And I was driving to my client's house, and I remember that day I wasn't feeling quite myself. Like I was off. There was just something between even the relationship with that client at that moment was there was something off. And anyways, I was trying to get myself into a different zone. Like I was trying to switch up where I was at. And as I'm driving, I'm the song that came on, I can't tell you anymore what it was, but it had something to do with love because I immediately started getting teary. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. So I was leaning into the song and I look over because I can hear the snowbirds coming. And I look over and they had drawn a huge heart into the sky with, and they let whatever they're exhausting to make themselves seen. Can you believe that? I was like, I have like in the 4 years I've watched them now, I've never seen them draw a heart in the sky, but they drew this huge heart in the sky, and I'm like, okay, all right, I got it. Because to me, the heart symbol, wherever I see it, means I'm on the right path. Like it's the way my spiritual support team shows me I'm on the right path. So at least that's the interpretation I have of it. So it's the heart for sure, Kati, the heart symbol. And I would say the other one that I've always been incredibly drawn to, it doesn't necessarily, well, it has shown up in various forms, but not as often as the heart, is the spiral. And when you first started talking, I thought you were going to the snail, the snail spiral,
Yep.
which also often is associated with the ocean, right? So I thought that's where you were going. And that was what came to mind right away because I'm hugely attracted to it. And it does also symbolize a lot of my principles or my beliefs, if you will, around the nonlinear, like that it is always this deepening piece.
Well, I think that honestly, and I'm going to be very truthful, the first thing that I drew out was that shape, was the spiral into this, like that was the first thing. And then it was like, nope, but that's not the one I'm supposed to lean into. It's
Mm.
definitely, but it's crazy that that was I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
I, so I knew the heart. I
Hmm.
knew the heart. And it came to me in that download that that heart, when it's showing up, is your Pisces moon saying, pay attention,
Yeah.
realize, be vulnerable, lead with love. I am 100% sure that your moon needs to be in the brand as the pulse, that this is now the phase that we're moving into, and it's asking you and begging you to be seen and heard
Yes.
and felt.
Yeah.
So there is an enormous range of feelings,
Yes.
and that is where brand is evolving
Yeah.
beyond logos, beyond colors
That's
and
right.
words. We need the feeling of it. So I'm so glad that you said heart. I'm like, okay, that was that it like clarifies that I'm able to get the
To
download
see.
correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you would have
Absolutely.
been like, no, man, you're off to who knows where, I'm like, oh God.
Gosh, no, no. I knew you wouldn't be. Like you are so incredibly intuitive and not just intuitive, but and I'm going to keep coming back to it. One of the things that has always just absolutely mesmerized me with you, Kati, is the ability for the unseen, the articulated that I cannot say. And I'm not just speaking for myself here. I know that you've done this for other people that we have worked together with on this. It's why I said you need to go see Carrie and you need to work with Carrie. It's why I said, Bree, this is Kati is your girl. Like you need to go see her. And that's one of the reasons I said, Lindsay, like go see Kati with without a doubt is because I know these people like me are so soul rooted, but have a hard time visually expressing that. They some of them are really good with words. They can say what they mean to say, but none of them, and me included, are very good at visually expressing that. And that is what I just absolutely love. And that's, Alex, why I think that if and when Kati reveals the visual concept of this, what we're talking about right now, I think that will bring up a whole different other emotion for me because
Mm.
it's just there is so much meaning. So yes, it's we're going beyond logos 100%, but there is nothing more beautiful to me, and probably that's the Libra, than to see my soul and heart represented in the visual.
My goal is to build the brand in you so well that you never have to go to your website to
Yeah,
remind yourself what your
that's
brand
right.
is.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need that brand to exist in you and for people to experience it through your energy. The website's just a tool, it's just an expression that's out there.
right. And for me, it needs to exist in order for me to see it within me. And what you just said is it needs to exist in me. It already exists in me. I just need you to extrapolate it, show it to me, and then say, this already exists in you. And I'm going, yeah, it does. And then off I go. Like I said to you yesterday, I'm like, I'm so done revisiting this over and over. And I mean, I get that my work in the world is an evolution. It doesn't just, oh, I'm deciding to become an entrepreneur and boom, there it is. And it doesn't work that way. Like we start where we start and we evolve into what we evolve into. And of course, that evolution will mean that we might change our brand name. That might mean that we change the colors. That may mean that we change the website. But I do want to bring it back to that. The very first thing that we did when we started working together is I had blue as all of my website stuff. And the reason I picked blue is because I went about it the strategic way. I looked up what blue meant, in the color wheel, and I said that's why I want blue. And to me, it also had like the ocean, the water. Like water to me is very important. It's my inspiration, as it is with Pisces. So one of the first things you said was no. And even the colors I had chosen instead of blue, they weren't the right colors. It was actually you who brought it into the just the right hue of pink, just the right hue of orange. I mean, I wanted orange in my color palette, but never did I imagine I would have this shade of orange, like this almost peach orange in my color, right? So anyways, I'm digressing, but I just wanted to bring it back to that, like just how important it is for me to have that visual piece and being seen through that.
Yeah, you know what? That's funny. I totally forgot that I help with the color.
You did.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
you were
high
a huge,
five.
yeah. See, you had it in you the whole time. It just evolved.
Oh boy. I have to say though, there was something you said a while back, and I forgot to mention that what Alex and I have kind of discovered is that the superpower that you have is more helpful out there than it is to yourself. Like
Mm.
for me to do my own brand and to pull that out of me, way harder than it is for me to do that for you. And I
Yeah,
think for you, getting into the clarity of the brand and the messaging, I mean, that's why you have somebody else come in to reflect it back.
yeah,
Right. So I think that when you find that thing that's very difficult for you, it's like, oh, there's my superpower.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Right.
Yeah,
But the other thing is now that we're going to be leaning into, and I think that it would be so helpful for you to spend the next week just really in Pisces energy. What does that actually feel like?
hmm,
What does it feel like to move as a Pisces? Because Libra and Sag, while they've served you well, it's time for them to rest and to let Pisces lead. What happens? What does that feel like? And that's what I'm trying to get into because that will be the core of the brand. So tell me something that breaks your heart so deeply that it reminds you that you're alive.
oof.
Wow. I
That
wasn't ready
is
for
a
that question.
deep question. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Oh, no, no reason to be sorry at all. But I may need a minute.
I want to answer. Can I answer that question?
Sure. That
You
gives
For
me
you
time to
you?
know
think.
you know what breaks my heart is when our kids' hearts are broken. Like even just saying that makes me want to cry. Like when I can't protect my kids from
Mhm.
pain, that breaks my heart more than anything. That's
Yeah.
crazy, especially as a protector. And there's just
Yeah.
certain things that you can't protect people
Yeah.
from. Anyway, I didn't mean, I was just giving Yvonne some time
That's
to think there.
Yeah. And
That
you
was,
know what? I think that is, it speaks in some ways to, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna take a stab at it. In some ways, that speaks to what also breaks my heart is that there's that helplessness, that my, when there is seemingly little I can do about it because someone just needs to walk their own path or needs to experience something for themselves. I'm not sure if that is the depth of what the question is asking here. Heartbreak. I mean, my heart is broken when there is this unjust. Wow. Let me see if I can get words to this. Like I'm going back through just recent experiences of when my heart is just so broken that when things are not the way I need them to be, that's when my heart breaks.
that's very frustrating.
It's very frustrating. I'm brokenhearted when I've wasted or taken things for granted.
I'm
And
okay. I'm jumping in here because I'm seeing something. Just this is telling in and of itself that I feel there must have been an experience so long ago where you felt something so deeply and
mhm.
it was not validated or it wasn't seen the way you needed it to be seen. And so, snap, the shell
Shut that
closes.
down. Yeah.
And you're having such a hard time recalling that feeling because really has that been allowed to lead? Has it been allowed to open fully so that you could feel the pain?
Yeah, and that's why I think it's so hard to access that, like that depth of brokenheartedness, right? And I fortunately haven't had to experience it again in recent moments where I can access that. So, yeah, I would literally need a little bit of time to think about that
I
to
want
see
you
if I
to,
can access that because I,
So why is that important for her to access that?
because if we're leading from Pisces moon and we have given the heart permission to be fully open and vulnerable, there would be more pain to experience, yes, but there would be an equal amount of beauty and treasure and radiance. Like full, pure radiance is okay if it's going to get a little bit of sand rubbed on it.
mhm.
We
Uh,
need to be able to fully open.
I'll say this, Yvonne. She was asking me some of these types of questions the other night, and I was just so, I don't know, I could feel my heart closing. I was like, holy smokes, I don't know if I'm ready to look at these things. So don't feel
Yeah,
bad just
I'm
because you're on the
ready. I'm
spot.
definitely
Yeah.
ready. I'm just it's something that needs a little bit of time to access for sure. It's not something that I think we have either the time for or that I could like I can get to like that. Like I need a little bit of
Well, you have homework now.
soul
I
dipping into
mean,
that.
I mean, Libra is able to boom, get to what it needs to right away. That's a muscle you have flexed your entire life.
Yep.
Now, having to go in and feel the Pisces part of it is going to take some practice and time, and it's meant to.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
takes you into the depths.
Hmm.
So, trick
I
question
feel
then.
like,
Trick question.
I mean, no, it wasn't. It was just honestly just so I could see how
Yeah,
quickly
yeah.
you could get to a pain moment,
That's a
Yeah.
just
cool
to see how
exercise, though.
open the shell is.
Yeah. The
I can
shell,
appreciate that.
yeah. I mean, I think you nailed it when you said there's what tripped me right away up, and that's where I saw the depth of this question, is what you said, that it made me feel alive. Like it breaks my heart to the point that it makes me feel alive. Because I can think of a lot of different things that break my heart, but the depth of what you're inquiring about, that takes a little bit more access for sure. And yeah, I mean, it's the depth of the ocean, right? Like we think we're already down. There's more. So
Mm.
yeah,
There's more. Okay, so we're going to leave that there because that's something that's once you're able to access it, I get to access it. And then people who come into contact with you get to access it. There is definitely treasure there.
I think
Um,
that the treasure is the vulnerability because once you open up, it almost sets up an invisible trust, right? There's this trust if that you can be vulnerable, they can be vulnerable with you.
for
It's
sure.
safe.
Exactly. That's why I opened up the podcast with vulnerability because as soon as we get to there,
hmm,
anybody else who comes into contact with you is okay to be vulnerable.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
That's smart. That's really
Hmm.
smart because if you're defensive,
Yeah.
they'll be defensive as well.
And it's not even just
Well,
about
people
defensive.
can only open
Sometimes
up. Yeah.
it's about perception, right? I mean,
Where
uh,
I think where you're going, Kati, is that, that saying, people can only meet you to the depth that you've met yourself. And that's exactly what you're asking here, is that people feel quite okay to be vulnerable with me and safe with me. It's
Good.
however, you're tapping into a new level of depth that I can take this to now.
but
That's what I'm hearing.
only because your soul is ready to
That's right.
put energy behind this and say, no, now is the time.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
know, we're in midlife energy.
Yeah.
This is the time.
That's exactly right.
So if you were, what kind of healing, not as a service, are you here to offer just in presence? What is your healing? What is your medicine?
Well, the first word that came to mind is being heard and being seen. Those would be the first two things that come to mind.
So I saw on Facebook that now you have your Reiki certification, which is awesome. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And now you are really leaning fully into helping women with their transition into
Mm-hmm.
midlife and everything that that means, finding the clarity in it and you being able to offer guidance through that. I'm curious what the Reiki is adding to this.
It adds the ability to hold the space, essentially, mostly for myself and energetically for others that, especially like if whether it's a facilitation or a one-on-one, it gives me the skills to hold the space in a different way without having to spend long hours of securing the space, making sure it's safe, or spending long hours of talk therapy in order to get to depth that we'd like to get to, in order to get to the depth of being heard and seen that I love going to with clients. And I think most importantly, it helps me because being in Reiki energy, I've been working with Reiki for a long time. I just got certified now, and just the recent one is the level 2, which allows me now to also do distance Reiki. And one of the things that came up in that was is just how much more it is about how it is so much more for me than it is for other, because when we do the work we do in the world, in service, and especially in the mental health and emotional health category, it's so easy to deflect and to forget about myself in this all and not to take proper care of myself. But having Reiki in my life helps me to regulate that a little bit more simply and not having to necessarily go and seek it with other practitioners. So whether it's talk therapy or massage therapy or or healing hands of any kind, I can now access that more quickly within myself. So it adds. Yeah.
You are probably the most cooled person I know. You have so many different things that you bring to the table. And you can list it on your website as Reiki certification, but until you explain why that's important to you, it you're missing there. We miss the core of who you are.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I have Reiki, but here's what it means. Reiki through Yvonne means creating a safe space, that container for energy work, so I can feel my way through the
Mm-hmm.
things that are happening so that we can bring clarity. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to weave that one thread. If we take everything else away, the words, take them all away, what is the feeling that's left? And
Safety.
when
Yeah.
right? And when you said that to be seen, that
Mm-hmm.
was if you were here to offer any kind of healing, it's to make sure that person is to be seen, to be heard. And they can only ever be that in a container of safety. And
Yes.
we're going so beyond words and mental capacity and all that into a space of energy. And Reiki brings some structure to that. It's not
Yeah.
just willy nilly. There's no, I have intentional ways of setting safe space.
Yes. Yeah.
So whatever we put on the website needs to come through the core essence of the reason you're here.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. And all of the quote unquote learning, schoolings, or certifications have an aspect of that quality. I mean, it's particularly coaching certification was another way to learn how to create that safety in not just the energetic, like Reiki is the energetic holding the space. The coaching certification is the ability to communicate that safety and to um, draw out what wants to come out and be heard. That's what the coaching certification did for me. The Berkman certification is a tool that allows me to see more quickly the essence of people via their own answers. So it's designed, the questionnaire is designed in such a way that I can see what their needs are in a way that might take, it wouldn't take me that long when I get to actually sit with someone. But when I first meet a person, that tool allows me to go and drop into their needs almost immediately. And I think even more importantly, it allows them to see it for themselves on paper, because right or wrong, most of us still want to see evidence and proof of
Right.
why we are the way we are. It's I won't just take her word for it because she looked up what my rising sign is or my sun sign is or my moon sign is. I need some evidential proof here that I'm wired this way. So that's what that certification did for me, is to offer for those that need that also a tool to see that or to bridge that, right? To bridge that spiritual essence, essential piece with the scientific, logistic, linear thinking that we have, the heart
Right?
with the
And
head.
I think that if we shift the perspective of these tools, they're permission slips and that's it, nothing more. It's just a
Yeah.
permission slip that you give yourself to say, no, I can do this for you because I have this certification. And that's like an old way of looking at it. And I think that if we move forward with, you know what, I give myself permission. Would Pisces operate that way? Would Pisces need to take a test? No way. Like I think now it's people come into your space and your energy, and it's because you're operating from a very spiritual, very deep
Mm-hmm.
space, and you've already been doing it. You don't need the permission slips. However, there are certain people who, you're right, are going to want you to further explain with proof, and then
Mm-hmm.
you go into this beautiful library of information that you've built for yourself, pull that book off the shelf, and here you go.
Yeah.
But that's not how we're leading anymore. That's
Yeah.
not the important piece here. The important piece is that I create that space for you. I see you so well that you are going to be in resonance with everything that you do going forward.
Yeah.
And that's what we're creating in you to be able to do, so that you're expelling less energy doing it for other people. Being in resonance is not giving all of your energy at once. It's a slow and then a recharge. So when you said that water is your healing element, that's really intuitive and it's so valuable. And it's something I ask people a lot: which element do you heal in?
Mm-hmm.
And so many people don't know, but you get to replenish yourself so much faster. And in the replenishment comes inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
because your soul left you the element that is tied to the environment we are living in to
Yeah.
be able to thrive.
Yeah.
That was long winded.
It was beautiful.
Oh, it's perfectly
That's,
winded
yeah. Yeah.
from my
Perfectly
little air
winded.
element healer.
Right. And it's funny because it's never the element that you're dominant in. I have so much water in my chart, but do you think I can heal in water? No way. Not ever.
Hmm.
It has to be in the wind, which is why the motorcycle works for me, because it's just all the wind.
Yeah. That makes total sense.
The wind tunnel.
Wow. Can you imagine if you moved to Chicago?
I mean, Winnipeg is like the Chicago, where it's just so bloody
Mm.
windy, except that it comes with the intensity of the north wind, and the north wind is sharp and painful and
Yeah.
abrasive. And then I
Yeah.
moved here and I'm like, oh, the west wind? Hello. The west wind is like, I will go and just face the west wind and it just like baptizes me. I love
Amazing.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, that's incredible. That's
So I think that we do need to kind of like, we've been keeping you here a while. When it comes to the messaging, and I had Alex go through the messaging too, I am very close to everything and I'm trying to bring through like all this emotion and stuff. I'm like, I need you to look and, like, what are we feeling from us? I like where it's going. I want to make sure that you helping women in midlife is the thing. That's like, is this
mhm.
your definite target person that
Yeah,
we're trying to bring in?
absolutely. Yeah. So was there a doubt there?
No, I have to make sure, because sometimes last week I heard you say, I love the consulting part so much. And I just want to make sure that's not referring to entrepreneurs of any age,
No.
that we're just going to
No.
focus now on this.
It's no, the consulting was purely referencing that it's not just about coaching. Coaching is a big part of it, and I love it. An hour of coaching lights me up like for days. However, I also love the consulting piece when I do strategy. Strategy is a big part of my giftedness as well. I can see bigger picture things, and that's where it ends. Don't ask me to go into details and like actually do the thing. That's a whole other, that's when I need to outsource to other people.
One of the things I found fascinating going through the website was I didn't realize women had kind of like almost the same thing as men, where you have this midlife crisis where you're, you've climbed the corporate ladder. You're eventually some people will, not everybody, but some people will wake up. A lot of us have woken up to, is this what we want to do forever? And at the same time, you have kids, you have aging parents, you're in this sandwich of needing to care for everyone around you.
Hmm.
And I don't know, I might sound ignorant, but I'm like, wow, I always thought that the burden was all on men. And I didn't realize that as I was reading it, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of burden on women too. There's a lot. And I didn't realize that. And I don't know if maybe women are pretending to be way stronger than they are too. I always say that men are always pretending to be way stronger and then they just suffer in silence, but maybe a lot of women do too. And to me that's important to bring forward as well. Like our first episode with you, I was surprised. Like I tagged a lot of people on Facebook, and there was a lot of pushback. Like people didn't want to like have to face perimenopause or talk about menopause. I'm like, how is this a taboo thing? Are people just happy to suffer in silence or pretend like it's not going to happen to me? If we don't think about it, then it's not going to happen to me. Well,
Well, it's
that's
happening. Yeah,
absolutely unrealistic.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's not something we have a choice about. It is happening. And no, it hasn't been talked about. I wonder though if maybe what's happening right now, particularly, is something I think we talked about on that episode, and I'm pretty sure it was you, Kati, who brought it in, is that it's everywhere right now, and it's almost like this new fad that we talk about, perimenopause, menopause. And I can definitely appreciate and see how people are kind of like over it. And that is no reason to stop talking about it because we just started get going on this. Like yes, do we need to be careful and not let this become another consumerism topic, where it becomes just about trends and money, where we stay with the reality of what this actually means. And it's also interesting because it's affecting so many people now, right? Like if we're looking at just population wise, like the demographics, I mean, it is just where we're at in this time and stage. So, yeah, I don't know why else you might have gotten pushback on it, but that would be one of the guesses I have around
I,
it.
I feel like it's part of the culture where we're not allowed to talk about money, politics, religion. We're not allowed to talk about anything. And now we're not allowed to talk about this. And next thing you know, you have a bunch of ignorant people walking around and they don't even know about the rites of passage.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we've talked about a lot is especially for men. Men don't have rites of passages. And now they're starting to try and take away women's rites of passages. You basically have to do everything blind. No, you should be able to have wisdom passed down to you and
Mhm.
openly be able to talk to your kids
Mhm.
and pass that wisdom
Well,
down to them
and
as well.
I was just having this conversation with my husband about on generational differences, and with we were specifically talking about AI and how that is going to impact the alpha generation because they're going to grow up in a world that is completely different than the world we've known. You and I, we still know what a dial-up phone is, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
whatever
Yep.
the proper
Rotary.
name for
Yep.
it is, rotary phone. Yeah. As it is, Gen Zs already have a difficult time with that. But can you imagine like the kids that were born like in the last 2 years? They will not even understand some of the concepts we're talking about. And so what I was saying is I what exactly what you just tapped into, which is there is no passing down of information anymore. And oh, that just comes back to Kati. I remember way back, I don't know in what conversation we were having and why this came up, but you were having such a strong desire to speak more with the older generation to get their wisdom. And that's what is emerging for me right now is that with all the advancements that we have and social media being the biggest culprit in this. And I say this because before social media, our way of getting information was through a book or through a blog or through like the news or whatever, like through media,
Mm-hmm.
original media. But books still had such a meaningful place in us learning. Whereas nowadays, who bothers to read a book anymore? Oh, I'll just listen to this podcast, or I'll just go on ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, and in 2 seconds I have my answers. So there isn't this whole wisdom anymore. It's just whatever you want to know, and especially what you want to hear and see is what you're curating.
Mm-hmm.
So what's missing, I guess, is the human part in this all, where we are generationally passing on the wisdoms. So my grandmother, and I wish I had asked more questions, honestly, Alex, like especially as it pertains to this age and stage, but it didn't even occur to me. And we're already at that place where we are, I think, very numbed out from information, true information, because my grandma didn't even think to share any of that stuff with me or treat my first period as a rite of passage. Like it wasn't that it just wasn't celebrated. It wasn't talked about. It wasn't like there was zero mentioning around it. And I can only foresee that getting worse unless we actually make a point of making it a point and talking about it. I don't know
Yeah,
if I articulated that
divine
properly, but
timing, right? If I scale back and look at the big picture and the higher perspective here is that our kids and everybody younger than them, they came into this experience hardwired into the age of Aquarius. They're ready to rock. We don't really have to worry about them in that regard. However, our age, the people that are in midlife right now, very confused because we were tapped into something totally different. And all of a sudden, there are guardians of the new that is emerging, and you are part of that. You are bringing forward and tapping into ancient wisdom in a new way for
mhm.
this, because this is the first wave of menopausal women. That this is not just about menopause. Let Oprah talk about menopause all she wants. All she's doing is feeding them junk food, and they're going to realize, but there's still something missing that medicine is not going to fix.
No.
That's what you offer. You offer the true meaning of menopause, the true meaning of midlife. You're initiating a new way for women to experience this rite of passage in a way that's never been done before. So if there is struggle around that, it is deserved because this is difficult to birth.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well
And
said.
it hasn't really been done before, so that's where the struggle is. But if it was done before already, then yeah, it's the authentic, like we right back to where we started. It goes back to the authenticity. And I love that you keep reminding me to tap into the real, into the authentic piece of it. Let's stay real. Let's not go to what will trend, what will fake sparkle, I guess.
We
I,
don't
I
want
think
fake sparkle.
No.
I think one of the big things is the lack of acknowledgement. Even it's like, oh, everybody just goes through it. Well, that's not. You're just belittling everybody's what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we all go through it doesn't mean it's all exactly the same, or it's still a big deal. My kids
Mm-hmm.
are going to graduate high school. Most kids graduate high school. Big deal. No, it is a big deal because they
It
just
is.
spent however many years of their life and hours going to this place, and it's the rite of passage. And you know what? When your period stops, which it does for every single woman, it's still a big deal. And it should be at least acknowledged, and you should be supported the right
Mm-hmm.
way. So
Yeah.
I'm with you on
And
this.
I think that if you're going to be bringing people in with something, pique their curiosity. You're going through menopause. But did you know that there is sacred energy for you to work with there for the next part of your life? Like the curiosity piece is big because we're all hearing about menopause all over social media, all over the news, and blah, blah, blah. But nobody is saying the things that you are now going to be saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Leading the way. Pearls of
That's going to
wisdom.
be important in your copy as
Pearls of
well.
wisdom.
Pearls of wisdom. Dude, there's no end to the possibilities here.
She's writing it. Sometimes I say
You have
something that's
to.
worth writing down.
There's just so much. So when you go back and look at your content, now do it through the lens of Pisces. Now there's a lot of Pisces out there. I'm only interested in Yvonne the Pisces moon, not any other version. This is, what does it feel like to have Pisces come through Yvonne's heart? That's what I want to know. And then how do I bring that into something as static as a website? How do I keep the movement? Because now water is a healing element. Your website needs to be fluid. It needs to have curves. It needs to flow. So
Yes.
also, yes, we're working with Libra. Actually, you know what? We're working with all the elements with you, really. I have to think about the earth, although the structuring really is the earth piece as well. You have access to all four of them, and it's going to be so beautifully packaged together that even when someone comes into contact with something as simple and static as a website, they'll be like, whoa, what was that? My goal is to establish that curiosity the second they land. Whoa, what's this feeling that I'm getting from just being here?
Mm-hmm.
And then we can invite them to read on.
Yes.
So that's how we shape the flow of the content too, through curiosity, because that's how we've managed to bring them in.
Wow.
I love it. So what do we do
There is
next?
Okay, so there's some work to do. You need to have like reflection time on all the things, see what feels good and what's trying to come through and have a Pisces week and just spend time by the water, go to the ocean, touch the shells. What is the medicine there? And just in being that. And then ask your soul to just let me feel it. How do I bring it forward? What is that one little pearl? I'm not looking for overcomplicated anything because honestly, in all the women that I've been helping in the past 2 months with their brands, it has been the simplest notion idea, but it has taken years and a lifetime of confusion and experience and living to get that very simple piece of medicine. And your
Wow.
brand has that. Your brand has that simple. What is it? What is that one very simplistic idea that's going to make all the difference?
And that is how you tie it up in a bow,
I do love tying things in a bow. All pretty. Dude, I'm sweating. Like that just
right?
came through me like fire.
You're like Tyler Henry.
You
You're
are on
going through
fire.
the
Yeah.
work. I think
Mhm.
we're going to wrap this up. We've kept Yvonne in the hot seat for a long time. I feel like we dragged her over the coals. I think that she got the
We did
best of
not
us.
drag her over the coals.
I don't feel like I've been dragged over the coals at all. I'm very
Good, good.
contemplative right now and soaking this in. And I really appreciate the opportunity to also sit with this because if there's one thing about me that is very true is I need time. I need time to sit with things, and I think this has also been one of my struggles along this way is because I feel like the outside world or the marketing as we know it today it doesn't permit me to have that time. It just wants and wants and wants and wants and wants. And it's really difficult on my nervous system. And that's when my shell closes up because I'm like, nope, I can't stay with that current all the time. Like I need
Right.
to have, the beautiful rays coming down very gently into the bottom of the ocean, and then I'll open up.
Yep. That's
Excellent.
the space you're going to be in for the next while because you know what? The market can effing wait.
Yep, you got it. Yeah.
Nice. Do you want to ask Yvonne the question before we go?
Right. There is a question. I
There's
totally
more
forgot about that.
questions?
No, no,
There's
this
just
was
one.
just the question left by the last guest for you.
Oh,
It's not
right,
This is
right.
easy.
just.
Don't
This
worry.
is the dessert after the meal.
Oh,
There you go. Little bit of dessert. Okay.
it better be
How do
chocolate
you,
cake.
yes. How do you see the obstacles you're getting comfortable with? How do you see when there's obstacles in your way and you've become too comfortable? It's almost like a blind spot.
How do you see the obstacles? How do you see beyond the blind spots, I guess?
Yeah.
What do you
Well,
do?
I would say I don't. I have other people that see them for me. And that's
Not
no, it's truly
so.
my answer is like I think that it's tough to read the label from inside the box. Like we need
Yep.
to have people around us that feel safe enough to say what they need to say and have a relationship with that we can be that transparent and authentic so we can say what we need to say to each other in order to really truly get to the blind spots.
Nice.
So for the obstacles I have I've learned over the years to not just run to anyone. I have certain people for certain things that I go to and they're my people and yeah, that's how I see the blind spots.
That's an awesome
And
answer.
I will add too, though, that you're so intuitive that you will see hearts when you're kind of stuck in something and you're like, what is that? Can I? You're having these, I think that your soul does leave those for you, which is so intuitively beautiful. And
Yeah.
I love every part of you.
Aw, thank you. And you're gonna get heart bombs from me now all the time because I have another friend who I shared the heart thing with that I see heart things everywhere. And now I constantly get images of when she sees heart rocks or
Oh,
heart
cool.
shapes in nature, heart shapes in nature, I guess. There's a whole website like a Facebook group that does heart shapes in nature. I belong to it. I haven't shared in there in a while, but yeah, I love that you brought that out in me right now, Kati. And thank you, Alex, for. I just want to acknowledge you for a moment for this new moon in Gemini, working through with a new mentor through the astrology, and she's really reminding me to acknowledge the new masculine. And I know I'm speaking to you as masculine, as man right now, and it's the space you were holding for both Kati and I right now to have this conversation that I want to really acknowledge you for. That is what I need. That is the new masculine I need to really have by my side in order to speak my truth and be authentic, like we talked about right at the beginning. So I just wanted to say that as well, Alex.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. You guys are amazing, and I know you're going to be up to some really cool and amazing things, and I'm really excited to be part of it. Yeah.
Us too. Because we got a long life to live, and we're only what are we, a third of the way, quarter of the way? We're going to live to be 120, so we got some time.
Here we are again about that 120, man. I don't know that I want to go to 120 with you, but
You're stuck with me for a while, Yvonne.
and I appreciate that. I just don't think I'm going to make it that far.
Not with that attitude.
Not with
Get
that
on.
attitude. No,
I'll carry you the rest of the way. Let's go. And I wanted to say thank you so much too, because you kind of were in the hot seat, and it's hard. Like I said, Kati was asking me some of these questions, and I was in the garage the other day cleaning my motorcycle, and my heart was bruised. It was kind of tender because, yeah, when you start asking these kinds of questions, it opens up and you feel vulnerable. And next thing, as a man, first thing I do is get mad because I don't understand why. But then when I sit with it and I burn off that anger, what's left was with sadness. And then I'm cleaning my motorcycle and I'm sitting with it and I'm trying to figure out where this is coming from. And it's like, oh, okay. And in my case, it was grief, and it was like compounded from multiple deaths around us. And it's like, man, I haven't processed it. So anyway, I had to sit with it. I had to go deep. But usually the old version of me would self-medicate, whether it's alcohol, funny movies, music, whatever. It's all a distraction. And I was really proud of myself. At least I distract myself wiping my motorcycle every little bit, but still sitting with it and being completely present, even though I was with my motorcycle. At least I did that for myself. So, you know what? I think that this is that new age for all of us, where we're stepping into not medicating ourselves and actually being strong and vulnerable at the same time. And we'll be a lot stronger for others along the way. So, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great job.
And and I want to say thank you to Kati too for being so amazing. And wow, you just always blow me away. Like I said, I was almost crying on Yvonne's behalf. It's like, what the heck's going on here? Why am I crying? It's just, I don't know. So your superpower, your superpower always amazes me, and I love you so much. It's stupid. And then I talk about how I don't want my kids' hearts to be broken, and then I'm almost crying again. It's, oh my goodness, who is this guy? I need the armor back on, but it's okay. I'll keep it going.
No, you're much more beautiful without that armor.
Love to make space for you guys. I do it unintentionally, but I guess I'm coming into the intentional piece where I guess I just bring that. So that's kind of my superpower.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I want everybody to go to YvonneWinkler.com. I'm going to put it in the description and check out her book, The Freedom Seeker. I have 2 copies, not just one. I have 2.
How do you have 2 copies? Oh, I know why. Yeah.
I'm that big of a fan. And I really enjoyed your book, and I would really encourage a lot of people to read it because, I mean, I'm first generation. Yvonne isn't first generation Canadian, and she's gone through a lot of crazy things that my parents kind of went through and my grandparents went through. And it's really interesting to see how far you've come because you're not just like this glamorous Canadian. Like you've gone through hell and back to get here. And I
Mm.
find that fascinating too, to see how not jaded you are by that. So that's huge too. So
Mm.
I want to give you a big shout out for that, for not
Thank you.
letting the cruelty of the world dim your light. I will say that. So thank
It's
you.
my eternal
Radiance.
optimism. I think that what part of that in my chart is that. I think that's Libra as well. It's that eternal, maybe that's a bit of my Virgo. I mean, I'm so close to the edge of Virgo that it might be that.
You're almost perfect,
Yeah.
like the sky.
Far from it. You know, when I said I don't want to make 120, that's when that's what was speaking, was that part of me was just like, no, not in this world. There's no way I'm gonna get to 120. I'm sorry. I don't, I'll do my best while I'm here and then peace out.
Nice.
Right? Exactly.
And with that,
Hey,
peace out,
right?
everybody. Live your genius. Season 2 is already beyond epic. Thank you, Yvonne. We're so grateful to have you here. We're so grateful to know you. And we're going to see everybody on that next episode.